Live from clickorlando.com and WKMG, we're getting results in your neighborhood now at 6 a.m.
Now on News 6 Mornings, a travel warning ahead of the 4th of July holiday as millions prepare to get away, what airport officials are urging passengers to do.
A crime alert in Ocoee after 2 men are attacked while walking home by police are hoping these photos lead them to the person responsible.
And changes when it comes to camping out at the University of Central Florida, what students are now being told after on-campus protests. Well, good morning on your Wednesday at 6 a.m. I'm Crystal Moyer.
I'm Bridget Ellison. Trooper Steve's watching your roads. Meteorologist Candace Campbell's here with your pinpoint accurate forecast. And today is a lot like a rinse and repeat kind of thing.
Yes, but I don't want viewers to think, okay, so if I rain yesterday, I'm going to for sure see rain today.
Nope.
This is where our best chance
grab
for
bag,
rain.
right?
It really is, and it's all dependent on kind of that collision zone of where the east and west coast sea breeze wanna the collision zone. The collision zone.
I'm like, what's happening? Right
Yeah.
I was like, I walked away from the desk. I'm like, why are we whispering?
I'm making sure Steve was paying attention.
Yes.
He stops and turns around. But yeah, depending on where those sea breezes develop and where they meet is where our best shot for rain looks to be. And once again, it's going to be basically right along 95 towards the west into I-4 with some of those storms lingering as the sun goes down. But the sun is coming up right now. Cape Canaveral showing a beautiful live look right now. Our Launch Credit Union camera. Just a beautiful start to the day. But it is certainly warm and muggy out there. We're at 74 degrees right now. The humidity is up to about 95%. Elsewhere around Central Florida, temperatures have backed off about a degree. So now all of Central Florida remains in the mid to upper 70s, although we are still closing in on that 80-degree mark in areas of like Leesburg and the Villages. Throughout the day, though, before we get any rain relief, we're still going to be dealing with those feels like temperatures back between 102 to 109 degrees. So it's certainly going to be a hot day, making sure you're paying attention and listening to your body, making sure that you know those signs of any heat-related illnesses, because it's certainly going to be a kind of a rough afternoon. Then after about 2, 3 o'clock, after we heat things up, rain chances will go back up to about a 60 to 70%. We'll be pinpointing the timing of that collision zone coming up in just a little bit. That's what she was talking about. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your pinpoint traffic.
You scared me because I'm so close to you right there, and you're like,
Collision zone.
All right, 46. Let's not make this a collision zone, please. I-4, nice and smooth, please. East and westbound. If you're coming in from Volusia, Deltona, DeLand, DeBerry, Sorrento, anything like that, we're looking real nice this morning. No major problem. So as we kind of cruise around here, you can check your drive times. Lake Mary to Maitland, 8-minute drive. This is nice. If you're headed out of our area, it's only about a 25-minute drive as you make your way towards 27. Map showing eastern portions of Sanford unincorporated as you make your way towards 46, Osceola Road, nice and clear. So let's head out towards the coast. Titusville, Mims, good morning to you, 95, and US 1 completely clear this morning. Guys, back to you.
All right, Trooper Steve, a travel warning ahead of the 4th of July. The TSA already predicting Sunday will be the busiest day for travelers ahead of the holiday. And now officials at Orlando International are urging passengers to take some precautions before heading out to the airport to help prevent those delays. News 6's Ezzy Castro is there live this morning, and they're reminding passengers, make sure you leave some certain things at home.
That's right, Bridget. And look, millions of passengers are expected to travel for the 4th of July holiday, but a lot of that will be happening starting this weekend. And you can see it is pretty busy out here this morning, but TSA workers do want to remind folks of some of the things that they need to leave at home before they travel. And this past Sunday, TSA says workers screened nearly 3 million passengers in airports across the country. So you can imagine, very busy. However, they are expecting an even busier Sunday this upcoming weekend. For now, live at Orlando International Airport, Ezzy Castro, get results. News 6.
Definitely want to get to the airport early. Thanks, Ezzy. Breaking overnight, WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange is now a free man after reaching a plea deal with the U.S. Department of Justice. This is video showing Assange walking out of a courtroom in the U.S. territory of Saipan after pleading guilty to publishing U.S. military secrets. Within the past few minutes, we've learned Assange landed in his home country of Australia after his release. As part of the deal, he was sentenced to time served since he already spent more than 5 years in a London prison. That ends a legal fight that has lasted over a decade, in which U.S. officials were pursuing 18 different charges for the publication of secret military records involving the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. A crackdown at the University of Central Florida when it comes to protesting on its campus. The school laying out new rules rules for students sleeping outside overnight, and it comes just weeks after pro-Palestinian rallies were held on campus and at other universities across the country. News 6's Mark Lehman joins us live from UCF this morning. And Mark, the rules also limit the time people are allowed to protest.
Yeah, there were already regulations in place, but the new rules reduce allowed protest time by 2 hours each day. That was just a few weeks ago when we saw demonstrations across campus, including right here next to the UCF reflection pond. UCF's policy on demonstrations was last updated in 2018. Now, there are some exceptions to the new rules. Camping is still allowed on campus for things like football games and other athletic events. For now, reporting live at UCF, Mark Lehman, getting results, News 6.
Mark, thanks. The Jacksonville Jaguars are one step closer to getting a brand new stadium. The city council have signed off on a $1.4 billion renovation to turn the venue into a so-called stadium of the future. Yeah, I had to say it like that. This is what the Jaguars want to turn Everbank Stadium into by the 2028 NFL season. The deal still needs to be approved by the NFL owners. Now, if that happens, construction will start next year. However, that means the Jags would need an alternative place to play, and that's where Central Florida comes in. Officials say they are down to 2 locations, either the Swamp at the University of Florida or right here in Orlando at Camping World Stadium. And Candace, I'm not biased, but being a huge Jags fan, I really want it to be at Camping World. I know, they have time to do some little renovations, to get that bid, that deal.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping it's like right down the street.
Listen, at the end of the day, even if you're not a Jacksonville Jaguar fan, you could still get more NFL games right around the corner, which is cool, so. I could see that. I'd go for it. Let's take a live look outside. I could also go for going to the beach today. Daytona Beach Sky Cam right now. Another beautiful live look right now. The water not too bad. The surf is going to be only about 1 to 2 feet. So if you have the opportunity to enjoy the beach, you might want to enjoy it a little earlier rather than later. Right now we're at 75 degrees. A beautiful kind of morning walk if you're planning on heading out in the next few minutes. The breeze is going to be light, primarily out of the south. We're not really looking at a big kind of weather pattern. It's just going to be all about where those sea breezes are going to develop. But before the rain gets here, it's going to be a hot day. With that southerly breeze, it's going to be feeling very tropical. We'll be back into the mid-90s, although the feels-like temperatures, are going to be well above that, feeling more in the triple digits for several hours today. So the kids are getting ready for a summer camp forecast. If you're not heading to the beach, you're just dropping the kids off at summer camp. That's what I do. Temperatures are going to be in the mid-90s by 3 p.m., so making sure that if your kids are in after school, after kind of those summer camp programs later in the day, after about 3 o'clock, they will be dodging some rain as sea breeze again will once again be that big storm chance. We'll have more details on the timing and location of where some of those storms could be later on today. But now let's check on those roadways. Trooper Steve, he's got your pinpoint traffic.
I was wondering what Crystal was brushing off my shoulder earlier, and it's my Funyuns that are that are taking over on me over here.
I told you, we eat very weird things at 5 o'clock.
Anything, anytime.
You didn't even offer me any, actually.
I thought I smelled something.
Yeah. 24 minutes from John Young to 27. Don't forget to pack your snacks if you're hitting the road this morning. Eastbound Champions Gate to 408. We're still looking pretty good this morning at 24 minutes. Now, this will go up probably about 5 or 7 by the end of the show here, but still not too bad out in our attractions area. Brevard County, you guys are still looking good, 95. So we come down a little bit more central here towards our Cocoa zones, Cocoa Beach, Merritt Island, 528, east and westbound. To include 520, no problems. And then the airport. If you're out there this morning, make sure you say hi to Ezzy Castro. But traffic-wise, 528 and 436 looks good. Make sure you check your airline flight times. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Trooper Steve. It's 6:11 on your Wednesday. A News 6 investigation prompting a possible change in Washington.
And coming up, how a case of a UCF student's tarnished reputation is putting online safety in the spotlight.
But first, a mother's car stolen from her driveway just days after she bought it. Up next, the hunt for the 4 people responsible after troopers say the suspects rammed right into one of their cruisers.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Orlando Health.
It's really about getting the truth, trying to dig down and figure out how this story impacts you.
These stories matter not just to us, but to the entire community.
We want to make sure you have everything you need to know, that we answer all of your questions.
And we're breaking down the whole story, what matters to you, and getting the answers you want.
Because that's what you need to know before you go to bed.
News 6 at 11.
The The 71-year-old Miss USA contestant. She's competing against 20-year-olds. Look at her in a bikini. Next in Sun Edition.
Tonight at 7:30 on News 6. Live with Bridget Ellison, Crystal Moyer. Weather with meteorologist Candace Campos and Central Florida's only traffic safety expert, Trooper Steve. This is News 6 Mornings, getting results.
A Brevard County woman says her life has been turned upside down. Her brand new car stolen right out of her driveway just days after making the first payment. And what's worse, this is how troopers found it. Heather Jordan spoke to News 6's James Barbero about the whole ordeal. She says her car was stolen last Monday. Then on Friday, troopers let her know that they found it, but not before the 4 suspects crashed into a state trooper's cruiser, then took off. A Virginia couple is working to complete what they call their Great American Steak Journey.
This is just going to make you hungry because they're traveling thousands of miles in hopes of visiting every single Texas roadhouse in the country. Judy and Mike McNamara began their quest in 2003. So far, they've been to 48 states, each time visiting their fave, Texas Roadhouse. So on Friday, they arrived at their 228th location in Grand Island, Nebraska. And so they're on pace to get to 480 by the end of the year, and by this time next year, they should have stopped at 500 of them. And I would be nervous as a server because we would always have secret shoppers, is what we call them. So that's like the ultimate secret shopper, right?
Yeah.
Because like if your rolls are not on point,
they would know.
Yeah,
they would 100% know.
I'm just hoping they have points.
This one, because she can't find her lunchbox.
I can't find my lunchbox. I'm really hungry right now.
Sorry. No, not again.
I know.
That's 0 for 2.
It's my thing. But what I'm interested in, my brain's not working at that early in the morning, but what I'm interested in is, did they set out to start this, or was it like,
ooh, you really like it.
You know, I wonder how many Texas Roadhouse. Oh my gosh, we've been to 48 states and we've done them all.
But for some people, it's like Cracker Barrel. You know, you stop at every
restaurant
Cracker Barrel
of choice.
on your road trips.
Can you all tell? We'll talk about food all day.
I need to find my lunchbox.
Don't you have one? You stop at every single one, or you stop?
Cracker Barrel.
They do the Cracker. Candace does the Cracker Barrels. Yes.
How many have you been to, Candace?
Oh, I don't know.
72.
Like, no, it's not that many.
Joking.
7? It's just one of those like road trip things. You know, the kids really love it. They're a little pegboard, you know. The shop, obviously.
All right.
I got to find my lunchbox. All right, let's look at the... Can you tell what's on my mind? Downtown Orlando Skycam right now. Light Orlando delivering hope. It's a nice, beautiful start to the day. We're at 75 degrees. The breeze out of the south-southwest is about 5 miles per hour. And as we get results here, your full 7-day forecast, temperatures will be in those low 90s until further notice. Rain chances staying elevated at 60%. I'm going to go see if I left my lunchbox in the car. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your pinpoint traffic.
I was going to go do that for you, but since you got some time, we'll see what happens. 436. Hangry at 5 o'clock in the morning is never a good place to be. 528 east and westbound, nice and clear. Even out here on the east side, I'm talking UCF, good morning to you. 434, Alafaya, University Boulevard, and everything in between. I'm talking Rouse, Dean, Goldenrod. As you make your way towards maybe even the Aloma area, nice and clear. And then Baldwin Park, good morning to you guys. If you're waking up nice and early this morning, no school going on, no major traffic issues. Corinne, east and westbound in the city. And then if you're leaving just north of there, maybe towards Winter Park, Lee Road, nice and clean this morning. No problems east and westbound from the Winter Park area as you make your way westbound towards I-4. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Trooper Steve. 622, security changes involving social media platform Snapchat.
At the bottom of the hour, what the company is doing to make it harder for teens to be contacted by people they don't know.
But first, a consumer alert involving several brands of ice cream. Up next, products being recalled over fears they could make you sick.
This portion of the news is sponsored by the Flooring Center. It's all in the Plus. Download the new 6 Plus streaming app on your smart TV or streaming device to start watching today. Breaking news, traffic. When you need to know what's going on in your neighborhood, trust Sky 6 to get the bigger picture. Exclusively sponsored by attorney Dan Newland.
It's 625. You should check your freezers. There's a consumer alert this morning involving a summertime favorite. Totally Cool is recalling various ice cream products over fears they could be contaminated with listeria. The recalled items were sold under more than a dozen different brand names, including Friendly's, Celebration Ice Cream Cake, Abby Lynn's Ice Cream Cake, and Frozen Farmer Fruit Sorbets. The FDA says so far there have been no reports of any illnesses. If you have any of these items, you can return them to the store where you purchased them for a refund.
And if you're looking to get your car fixed this week, you may be out of luck, at least for the next several days. It's all due to a cyber attack on a system used by thousands of dealerships across the country. CDK Global says the system has been down since last Wednesday and likely won't be back online until at least Sunday. The technology is responsible for a variety of things, including scheduling, records, and parts delivery. So to come, UCF making changes when it comes to camping out at the school.
And at the bottom of the hour, the crackdown following protests at campuses across the country.
When every minute matters, News 6 is getting you all the facts and every detail that matters to you. For breaking news turned to News 6. Live from clickorlando.com and WKMG, we're getting results.
A Central Florida mother accused of driving over her own child. The video, deputies say, proves it was done on purpose and the charges she's facing.
Plus, a busy 4th of July in the skies, but it has nothing to do with fireworks. The new warning from the FAA when it comes to big crowds at the nation's airports.
And the most advanced weather satellite ever now in orbit. And we'll have a look at the liftoff from the Cape and what comes next once it gets up and running. Good morning. It is 6:30 Central Florida. I'm Bridget Ellison.
And I'm Crystal Moyer. Thanks for staying with us on this Wednesday. We want to start with a check of your pinpoint forecast with meteorologist Candace Campos. We've got more heat and more storms for some.
Yeah, we got a mix of both for today. Taking a live look right now, Mount Dora, sky cam right now. Just a little bit of cars out there. People will be walking and hustling and bustling there in downtown Mount Dora in the next few hours. Right now we're at 79 degrees. The winds are calm, humidity is high, and it's all that humidity that you know will be making it feel much hotter than our actual temperatures. Our actual temperatures right now out the door, if you're heading to work, dropping the kids off at summer camp, we're in the mid to upper 70s at this hour. We're going to continue to keep temperatures slightly above average with our highs in the mid to low 90s, but it feels like temperatures that are still going to be in those triple digits, not only for today again, but throughout the rest of the week and into your weekend. And once we start heating up, that's when the storms start rolling through, which is certainly going to bring us a little bit of relief with those cooler temperatures, but you can see rain coverage will stay elevated at 60%. We'll have a look at the timeline for those storms and the coverage coming up in just a little bit. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your pinpoint traffic.
It's amazing what summer does to traffic. Like,
I know.
I get it. Sometimes it's a little crazier in certain spots, but for the rest of us who are working every morning and our routine doesn't change, life gets a little bit better. Lee Road, east and westbound from Winter Park into the Eatonville area, right towards I-4. No delays. We would normally see a delay if school was kind of going on. I-4 at Kennedy, DOT cam showing nobody out there right now. Well, obviously a few cars, but in comparison to what it should look like. Things nice and smooth. We come down here towards Windermere. Good morning to you guys. Things flowing pretty good. If you're headed towards Universal, nice and clear. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Trooper Steve. This morning, the FAA warning, if you have a trip booked for the upcoming 4th of July holiday, get ready for company.
Yeah, the agency says this upcoming weekend ahead of the holiday will be the busiest of the summer. And here in Central Florida, the TSA says there are things you could do to try and make sure your trip is a smooth one.
News 6's Ezzy Castro is at the airport this morning, Orlando International. Ezzy, it's all about remembering what not to pack.
That's right, ladies. And look, this is something TSA told us yesterday, that liquids are one of the biggest issues they have when it comes to TSA checkpoint here. They say 3 out of 10 people will bring those, and that's a big no-no. Also, something else, weapons. They're telling people to leave those at home because if you plan on traveling, you should not bring those to security.
Plans to develop the former site of Flea World in Seminole County have officially gotten the green light yesterday. Commissioners approved turning the 110 acres off 1792 into a new development known as the Reagan Center. The plans call for more than 1,000 new apartments and eventually retail and office space.
It does so much for the spine of the county and the urban area and the urban corridor, and developing it and getting what arguably is now an eyesore back on the market.
It's expected to take about a decade to complete the whole plan.
The most advanced weather satellite ever built is now in orbit after a liftoff from our coast.
Ignition, engine core power, and liftoff. Go steady test, go Falcon Heavy, go NOAA, go NASA, and go you.
Live right here on News 6. You saw it just before 5:30 last night. Once it's up and running, the GOES-U satellite will be able to send back high-resolution imagery in near real time and will be critical in tracking hurricanes. And no one is geeking out more than our very own meteorologist, Candace Campos.
Of course, a weather satellite is going to go off with a 30% chance of
I know, right? Well, it's a good timing, right? We're in hurricane season, so the quicker we can get that up, the better we can get.
It's going to take a little bit of time and got to iron out some of those details and things like that. But now, I mean, listen, an amazing tool that's going to be orbiting our planet and giving us bird's eye view of the tropics, but also have the ability to also pinpoint lightning strikes on your street. So it's just crazy. All right, Cape Canaveral, speaking of, that sea breeze pushed far enough inland to be able to have a successful launch out there. So 74 degrees right now. The winds are light out of the west at about, I should say out of the south-southwest at about 9 miles per hour. Elsewhere around the coastline, we're in the mid to upper 70s. We're slowly closing in on already near 80 degrees in some spots. We're at 77 in Leesburg, 75 in Orlando, and 73 degrees there in Osceola County. Now, rain chances are on the rise. We're going to be dodging rain. It's not going to be widespread. It's not going to be an all-day event, but those who will see the rain will be seeing a whole lot of it. And you know, interesting way of also pinpointing the rain in your neighborhood, we got a new pinpoint weather app. It's going to look different. It's going to take some time getting used to it, but it has so much more than our last one had. Customizing everything, always getting the latest video forecast. There's tons to talk about. More time than I have to talk about it here on News 6, but on News 6 Plus, Jonathan Kagas on Weatherwise starting at 8 o'clock. We'll have more details and the full breakdown on how to perfectly customize that weather app to your liking coming up.
You really like the weather app?
I do.
All right.
Can you tell?
Yeah,
because it's a lot of geeky fun stuff.
It's super awesome. It's like basically sitting back here with Candace. It's kind of cool. Turnpike looking pretty good this morning. I-4 up to speed. I'm picking up a serious slowdown out here along Sand Lake approaching Kirkman. No crash reported just yet, so just be careful. Yesterday out on patrol, I was hanging out in Volusia County with Molly Reed, our Volusia County Bureau reporter. You know, get to know her a little bit. She's been with us for quite some time, not going anywhere. So head over to clickorlando.com and check that stream out. Always nice we get results one out on the beach. Today, I'll be up at the Seminole County Sheriff's Office at 10 a.m. Clickorlando.com. Join me. They're going to be having a recruitment event for all positions within their department there from 10 to 2. Come by, check out, see what they have to offer. Ladies, back to you.
Thanks, Trooper Steve. A popular social media app rolling out new features to protect teens.
Still ahead this morning, what users can expect to see next time they get a message on Snapchat.
But first, gun violence in the U.S. now being called a public health crisis. The new announcement from the Surgeon General and how the NRA is responding this morning.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Freedom Health Medicare Advantage plans. We've got you covered. Sign up for our Setting the Stage newsletter at clickorlando.com. Live with Bridget Ellison, Crystal Moyer, weather with meteorologist Candace Campos, and Central Florida's only traffic safety expert, Trooper Steve. This is News 6 Mornings, getting results.
A major announcement from the U.S. Surgeon General as he formally declares gun violence in America a public health crisis. Well, imagine this. You're just eating dinner by the water and you spot this partially submerged SUV just floating by.
What the hump?
It happened, yeah, right? It happened to one group of people at a restaurant just outside of Cape Coral. They called 911 just to be safe, and it turns out that the SUV's brakes gave out while no one was inside, thank goodness, and it went right into the water. Fish and Wildlife was called in to remove it.
When I saw it, I thought maybe it was one of those like new things that there's so many cool watercrafts out there now. I'm like, oh, someone converted a car.
Yeah.
Nah.
Obviously not.
Only at Disney Springs do we have converted cars for boats, but that's crazy.
It is.
I always worry that sometimes if I follow my GPS too well,
You're
all of a sudden you're like, uh-oh. That's a canal, not a road. All right, let's look at your weather forecast out there, Daytona Beach, as you take the car, not in the water, but on the beach. You can see just a beautiful live look right now in Volusia County. Now, temperatures at this hour, it's warm out there. We're already in the mid-70s. Feels not too bad, at least for now. Certainly feels tropical. So if you're enjoying the beaches, this is kind of the weather you want it to feel like, right? Now let's check on your hour-by-hour forecast for your Wednesday.
Your forecast is sponsored by Freedom Health Medicare Advantage plans.
So 94, that's going to be your high for today. And then rain chances after about 2 o'clock will go up to about a 60 to 70%. Could see a stray downpour just after sunrise, but overall our overnight temperatures will be staying in the upper 70s while we stay mostly dry. And as you get results here, their full 7-day forecast, chance of rain stays high. Heat index numbers also staying high into the weekend. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your pinpoint traffic.
All right, we're slow out towards the attractions eastbound right now, approaching 429. It's not horrible. What is it? It is 31 minutes. Champions Gate to 408, which is not horrible. It's pretty good. Poinciana Boulevard, we're a little slow this morning northbound. As you're approaching US 192, you can see here, we're back. We've done this on patrol before. Keep in mind, pick your lane, stay in it, and do not start jumping in front of other people. No crashes to report to you right now. 192 looking good, and 417. Great sunrise out there, looking good as you approach Orange Blossom Trail with no major issues out there. And right behind me here, Florida Turnpike. Looking great. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Trooper Steve. Gearing up for a busy week ahead at the nation's airports.
What the government is saying about 4th of July travel next as we check our big stories.
Discover the magic of color at Crayola Experience, Orlando's most colorful hands-on family attraction.
Hey, Central Florida, it's time to celebrate the 4th of July.
With fireworks at the fountain celebrating a city of heroes at Lake Eola Park.
Join News 6 in the city of Orlando for a fun-filled day.
Live on News 6 at 8 p.m. or stream it on News 6 Plus or clickorlando.com. It's 6:54. Let's check our big story, starting with Ezzy Castro live at Orlando International Airport.
The FAA is warning that this upcoming Sunday, just before 4th of July, will be the busiest for the summer travel season. It's all as millions are expected to take trips for the 4th of July holiday next week. The agency says it's taking steps to make sure things run smoothly. Meantime, here in Orlando, the TSA is asking travelers to do their part by not trying to bring liquids or any kind of weapons through security. That can quickly lead to longer lines here at these checkpoints. Bridget.
A woman's facing charges accused of running over her boyfriend as he was holding the couple's 16-month-old son. Aaliyah Ross was arrested in Orange County after deputies say the father and son were hurt Monday at a home in Polk County. Mark.
UCF is making changes when it comes to the rules about protesting on campus. The school already bans camping overnight, but yesterday the Board of Trustees voted that any protests need to be wrapped up by 8 p.m. That's 2 hours earlier than before, and protests can't last for more than 5 days in a row. The school, like many others across the country, has seen protests in recent months because of the ongoing war between Israel and Hamas. Crystal?
It marked the most advanced weather satellite ever built, now in orbit after a launch from the Cape last night. GOES-U, as it's called, is expected to be critical when it comes to forecasting hurricanes.
And be sure to join us at 7:30 for Breakfast with Bridget on News 6 Plus. For your smart TV, we'll have updates on your weather, traffic, some top stories. Today, a live interview about the dangers of social media with teenagers. So you know that's been in the news. That's coming up.
And temperatures out the door right now, we're all pretty much in the mid to upper 70s. Temperatures are going to continue to crank up. Our feels like temperatures back into the triple digits. No surprise there. And then storms once again will be favoring basically 95 west throughout the I-4 corridor again today, starting up around 2-3 o'clock, but lingering as late as about sunset. And we're going to continue into this pattern throughout the next couple of days, maybe even tapping into a little bit of Saharan dust on Sunday, Steve.
Things not bad out there. With all the beach talk, I figured, hey, let's check out the beach cameras. 528 at the 51 if you're headed out towards Cape Canaveral. Nice and clear out there. Not a crash to currently report to you. No issues out there. And just be aware, like Candace has been letting us know, it's going to rain.
It's going to rain. It's going to
rain. Maybe not on your head, but somebody's. All right. Thanks for joining us. We break news on clickorlando.com.
You can also find all of our stories and podcasts on our News 6 Plus app for your TV.
We love our News 6 insiders. We appreciate that.
You become an insider and you win.